won 6-4. I reached out to Levi on the Kolby Branch transfer story, and he goes, yeah, that's like 11 o'clock here. He's in Europe on a train from Austria to Italy and joins it. No, Italy to Austria and joins Craig Smoke, David Smoke on 365 Sports. Is this like one of those bullet trains, or what kind of a vehicle are you in?
Hey guys, it's good to be on the show. I just got back to Austria about an hour ago, and I'm in my friend's dorm, so I have Wi-Fi. It's been a long day. I've been on the train for probably over 12 hours, but I'm chilling now, so it's good to be with you all.
All right, so let's get to Kolby Branch. You wrote a really nice feature on him being the foundation and face of the program for Mitch Thompson. So how much of a kick in the you-know-whats was it when you heard that he was entering the transfer portal?
It was the timing. The timing was not ideal. I'll say that. It was funny because we kind of had that article written, but we didn't post it until last Thursday. And then, it's funny. It was on Wednesday, Thursday. I was kind of starting to hear stuff, and I was like, "Oh no, this might not end well." And then about Friday, I kind of had a good idea of the news. So that was very interesting. I never kind of dealt with something like that, where you have this in-depth feature story, and then a couple days later, everything that was written was kind of going to go to waste. And so it was a learning experience, I guess, for the rest of my career.
So, Levi, what happened here? I mean, I saw a lot of things about NIL, mentioned, because that's just sort of the automatic go-to, and then I saw a lot of pushback. I'm like, no, kid just wants to win. I've seen, mentions of his brothers going to OU or whatever. I'd also seen where, obviously, as you were writing your article, Baylor was thinking the whole time that he was going to be coming back. So any sort of idea kind of, what changed to where now he is entering the transfer portal and heading to wherever he ultimately heads?
Yeah, so that's kind of the real question here was, when the season ended towards the end of May, Mitch and Coach Dillon, both were definitely relying on Kolby to come back, and that kind of felt like a sure thing. Kolby told me he was coming back. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, he left to go play summer ball in Rhode Island. And, during that time, things have changed, obviously. I think 2 weeks ago, he was ready to be kind of the face of Baylor baseball, face of the rebuild, and then something changed, whether that be, his teammates, were kind of in his ear, somebody got in his ear about wanting to step up, whether he was not happy with, the moves they've made the lack of moves they've made this offseason. I think that's kind of maybe a little combination of all those things. And I think the easy thing to go to here is it's just an SEC school coming in with a ton of money. But that's not really Kolby's personality. He's not a liar. He was definitely being genuine with me 2 weeks ago. And so things have changed, and they changed rapidly. And NIL, I directly know that NIL was not a significant factor in this decision. He just wanted to win and play at a higher level.
Oh, they've had, Trey Richardson, among others, over the last few months or year that have gone on to be really good. They were good at Baylor, would have been a part of that. Where is Mitch Thompson, Levi, right now when it comes to trying to, he's not going to give up. This is a fighter that waited a long time for this opportunity. Do you feel like that the next year or or when it might kick in for Baylor?
Yeah, I think when I talked to Coach Dillon a couple of weeks ago, I think he's not a fan of timelines, but ideally, I think year 3 is when they're going to have everything fully implemented that they want to have implemented. When this was Mitch's dream job, and there was so much, talk about, Mitch Thompson's coming home, blah, 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 that people kind of overlooked how desolate that roster was that he inherited. And so he just did not have much to work with this year. It was always going to be a long year. There were a lot of injuries that made things even worse than they had to be. From the look of it right now, I think next year is going to be pretty rough too. And so Mitch is going to have 3 to 5 years to kind of get things back going in the right direction. And I think by year 3 is when you'll hopefully start to see some tangible competing for the NCAA tournament and top half of the Big 12, stuff like that. But yeah, not a good start by any means. Mitch said this is the toughest year of his coaching career. He's been in this business 30 plus years, so it says a lot.
Levi, I have another question that's more about Kolby Branch in particular. But we've already kind of discussed the NIL part of the potential part of the story with him and the decision that he's making. Take him out of the equation. Just in general, is NIL an issue at the moment for Baylor baseball? Is that something that has to improve for them to be competitive with the likes of the TCUs, the Texas Techs of the world, so on and so forth? How would you describe that to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, it's 100% an issue. We hear on the show all the time, we hear kind of the ad nauseum talking to Mac Rhodes about is NIL an issue. And, I think we all kind of have a good idea that Baylor's not at the forefront of it. A couple weeks ago when Mac said each year they need $5 million for football, men's and women's basketball combined. But he didn't mention baseball. Most of these SEC schools, most of these ACC schools, baseball's the second or third biggest sport on campus. And so for Baylor, I was told by somebody that the Baylor baseball NIL is light years behind other programs. And so it's gonna be an uphill climb for sure. For however the coaching staff kind of is gonna go about that.
Levi, Tennessee today was able to eliminate Stanford, so they survive. Tonight, LSU and Wake Forest, and what ought to be an incredible game. TCU survived to get into an elimination game with a team that beat them in Oral Roberts. I don't know how much you've even kept up with it. I'm sure a little bit, but your thoughts about where they are right now with the College Baseball World Series.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch some of these games in the 2 a.m. but I try to catch the highlights and stuff. I think there's some really talented teams. I mean, it just goes to show like how insanely good the SEC is. Florida, LSU, Wake Forest is so good. Wake Forest is pretty similar kind of university as Baylor, so maybe you could think that the coaching staff might take some notes on how they're getting so successful so fast. Oral Roberts has been a great story. They never should have been a 4 seed in the Stillwater Regional, but they were, and now they're in Omaha. Baylor's going to be playing Oral Roberts next year, so that's going to be interesting. TCU is the team that I thought was hands down the number one team in the conference going into this year. And they started slow, but they got hot when it mattered most, and they're in Omaha, and they're going to be competing to a chance to move on. It's super fun, and it kind of goes to show you just how far Baylor is off from those other schools.
All right, Levi, last thing from me. Somebody here in the next few days, next few weeks is going to get a pretty talented baseball player in Kolby Branch based off of just reading the mentions and accompanying some of the tweets. That could be Oklahoma, that could be TCU, that could be Texas, could be somebody we're not even thinking of. But whoever does land Kolby Branch, what kind of a player are they bringing into the program?
Yeah, so my guess would be, I don't really have exact knowledge of this, but my guess would be he goes SEC, and I think they're going to get an extremely hard worker. He's very determined, very businesslike. He loves to win. He's a really great individual, and I know it's kind of hard for fans to hear that after. I think the whole Austin Novosad thing is really, scarred some people and whatnot. But Kolby's a really good dude from a really good family, and he's an incredible player. I wish he could have stuck around at Baylor to kind of see this thing through. But he also is 20 years old. So next year he can either go to the MLB draft if he has another good year. And so I think that's ultimately, where he wants to be at some point, whether that be next year or down the line. But he's an incredible person, incredible player. And they're going to be getting a good one wherever he goes.
All right, so let's discuss where you are. You're back in Austria. You were in Italy. You flew in, obviously, from somewhere in the United States, and you're there with a friend. And you've been gone for what, a week and a half? Is that how much time left in your little rendezvous excursion?
Yeah, so we left on Wednesday. I think it was the 7th. Flew into Germany. Came down to Austria, kind of caught up on sleep for a day, and then we did 3 nights in Paris, 3 nights in Rome, 3 nights in Amalfi. Came back to Austria today, and then I'll be heading back to the States on Friday. So hopefully I'll be back in Waco by Monday or Tuesday.
What a great trip, huh? That's awesome. All right, enjoy yourself,
Yeah,
Levi.
yeah.
Thank you very much, Craig.